Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, I'm out at Lucky Peak Reservoir today, and you know, there's a lot of talk now about the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro coming out and how it will compare with the DJI Mini 2. Well, you know, we've got a couple of Hubsan and DJI drones that we can compare right now, because obviously the Hubsan Mini Pro is not out yet. So what I've got for you today, I have the DJI Air 2S, and we all know everything that this drone brings to the table. A lot of good stuff. More on that in a second, but you know, no doubt about it, one of the best prosumer drones out there as it is right now. We're going to compare it today with the Hubsan Zino 2 Plus. Now, this is Hubsan's top-of-the-line drone as we speak. Obviously, their little Mini Pro isn't out yet, and it has some features probably that, well, it does have some features that this guy doesn't. Let's just take them both up, and we're primarily going to look at the video quality on both of them, but also how they handle, how they fly, etc. Yeah, let's just talk about a little bit of how they compare here. So while these two drones, you know, may not seem like they should compare, in many ways they do. So let's take a look at the spec sheets for them and just kind of talk about what each of them both bring to the table. One of the first things that anybody asks about with a drone is flight time, and the Air 2S advertises 31 minutes, and the Zino 2 Plus advertises 35 minutes. Battery size, the battery on the Air 2S is 3,500 milliamps. The Zino 2 Plus is a little bit bigger at 3,800 milliamps. Now, a GPS camera drone, hey, we're interested in the camera and getting good video and good photographs with it. Video resolution is where obviously the DJI Air 2S shines. 5.4K video at 30 frames per second. If you shoot in 4K, you can get up to 60 frames per second, and in you know, the lower resolutions up to 120 frames per second. The Zino 2 Plus actually compares fairly favorably in that it will shoot 4K 60 frames per second and up to 120 frames per second in some of the lower resolutions. So then sensor size is where obviously we know that the DJI Air 2S shines with its 1-inch sensor, and then the Hubsan Zino 2 Plus has a Sony 1/2.3 sensor. So much smaller sensor, but in my experience it shoots some pretty decent video. So obstacle avoidance is something that the DJI Air 2S brings to the table that just doesn't exist on the Zino 2 Plus. I'm telling you, trying to remember these names and get them right is always really something. Obstacle avoidance is something that the Air 2S definitely has an advantage on, because it has, in addition to downward-facing sensors, it has rearward, forward, and upward-facing sensors, while the Zino 2 Plus just has downward-facing sensors. As far as satellite coverage, the Air 2S has GPS, GLONASS, as well as Galileo, whereas the Zino 2 Plus just has GPS and GLONASS. But my experience is both of them pick up satellites pretty well, and it's never been a problem with either one of them. Advertised range, the Air 2S comes in at 12 kilometers with the O3 system, and the Zino 2 Plus comes in at 9 kilometers with their sync lease system. Now, what I'm going to tell you is, you know, you're not going to fly either of these drones that far, at least I'm not. However, what you want is good signal penetration, and in my experience, both of them do pretty good in that regard. Top speed, 19 meters per second on the Air 2S and 20 meters per second on the Zino 2 Plus. You know, that is over 40 miles an hour for both drones, which is excellent. Tracking, both drones do have tracking, and both of them work very well in their tracking modes. Obviously the Air 2S has obstacle avoidance in conjunction with that, so it can avoid obstacles and go around them while it's tracking, while the Zino 2 Plus can't do that. Automated flight modes, they both have a suite of automated flight modes. We're not going to get into that much in this video, but just know that they both have a number of automated flight modes. Weight, so the Air 2S is much lighter at 595 grams. The Zino 2 Plus, 929 grams. And you know, you can pick it up and you can tell the difference. Now price, now this is the big deal. Really, the DJI Air 2S is essentially double the price of the Zino 2 Plus. So that's a consideration for a lot of people. And so that's where the Zino 2 Plus will have an advantage for a lot of folks that just don't want to spend that much money. The regular price for just a single battery version of the Air 2S, $999 US, and the Zino 2 Plus, $519 US. Now the Fly More package with the Air 2S is $1299 US. The Zino 2 Plus is $669 US. It's a really good value on that Zino 2 Plus, and I can tell you that it comes with a really nice bag and charger, as well as the extra battery, etc. So in any case, enough talking about specifications and so forth. Let's get these birds in the air. Hey, okay, so we're going to fly the Zino 2 Plus first. It's worth mentioning winds. It says 8 miles an hour with like up to 18 mile an hour gusts. Honestly, it doesn't feel that windy right now, but it could be as we get out over the reservoir here. And that bears mentioning, this guy has a Class 6 wind rating and the Air 2S has a Class 5, so they can both handle that no problem. Let me get this drone fired up and we'll get it up in the air. Okay, I should point out that the Zino 2 Plus has a pretty nice remote with a nice LED display on there that gives you telemetry. That's something that it has that the DJI Air 2S does not have, and it's kind of handy. So it's asking for a firmware upgrade. Normally I would do that, but we don't have a good enough cell signal here that I would want to mess around with it. It'd probably take forever. So I should have checked for a firmware upgrade before I left the house, but I did not do it. So anyway, you can see the firmware package right there on the screen. And I like this safety page that Hubsan gives us here. And there again, there's the firmware package. And it tells us that the compass is normal, the gyroscope accelerometer is normal, and the gimbal is normal. So there really are no calibrations that we need to do. And so there's really, honestly, at this point, no reason why we can't take off. So let's take a look really quickly at our camera settings. We're going to switch to video. And we're in 4K 30 frames per second, highest bit rate, and everything else here on automatic, so we're good to go there. Now I know that the Air 2S can shoot in 5.4K, but we're going to shoot in 4K 30 frames on it as well. So let's start recording now. I would say there's probably nothing left for us to do, but let's get this bird in the air. Let me get out of the way so you can see it. Yeah, we can see that on camera. Just want to make sure the GoPro could see it. We're going to hit takeoff on the app. And the drone takes off, and we've got a little bit of wind, and you can see it sinking just a tad. Let's turn it around here, and we'll see if we can get a good look at the camera. Awful slow yaw there, and we are in normal mode. I'm okay with a slow yaw. It makes it for a lot smoother footage. So yeah, we'll bring it into the camera. This is not a drone that I am comfortable getting it too close, because as you can see, it does move around a little bit. And the more wind you have, the more it moves around. You can see it rising there, and my fingers are off the sticks. Fingers completely off the sticks, and you can see it kind of moving around. But and a little gust of wind just came up. That's going to affect the barometer. But in any case, let's yacht back and forth. You can see that gimbal work. So you can see how that gimbal works. And it kind of moved back and sank a little bit when I did that. But let's bring it in just a little. And we need to do our usual manual droning now. So reverse and up now. And again, we are in normal mode. Reverse and up. And we're sending the drone out over the reservoir. We'll drop that gimbal down so you can kind of get a better look at us here. And I hear a speedboat taking off there. We might get a look at him here in a second. So there we are. It's looking pretty good on FPV here. I'm getting a really good FPV feed. Let's turn the drone around, and we're going to look up the reservoir. We might get a look at that speedboat that just took off there. So there he is. Let's throw this baby in sport mode and see if we can catch up a little bit. So full stick forward now. And let's see how fast we can get this guy up to. That's me moving the yaw stick a little bit there, moving it over. Yeah, and so we're, you know, about 18.8. We might get up, yeah, we're there. We're at 19 meters per second. That's moving right along. That's over 40 miles an hour. And that guy in that speedboat is still, he's still leaving us in his wake, so to speak. So yeah, that's what you'd expect. So yeah, take a look at the reservoir here. They're filling it up with water. It's going to be completely full here in a little while. And we're out there about 1 kilometer right now. We got great connection. Let's yeah, they're saying GPS interference on the screen there, which I do not see. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, we were down to 10 satellites there. So I think that's the first time I've seen that. We're kind of keep the camera on this guy here a little bit as we yaw around, and we'll see if we can chase him back the other way. So you're going to hear a little bit of background noise here. Some folks just came in with some kids, and they're looking around. And of course, this is a public facility, so yeah, he's going to leave us in the dust, isn't he? Let's see how fast we can go the other way. So we're definitely going against the wind here now, aren't we? And this is going back towards I'm looking and seeing that speedboat in front of me now, you know, as I'm out here on the point. And he kind of came to a stop. That was a pretty good little run there. That was fun. Looks like we're up to 13 satellites again, so whatever issue we were having there is past us. Let's take a look down. We can go down, take a look at this guy. Yeah, looks like they're stopping for a little rest there. Let's pick that camera back up. Well, sorry about that noise, folks. It's just one of those things. Okay, so let's look back towards the boat ramp here. And if anybody remembers the videos that I took here in the fall and in the winter, you saw how far down that boat ramp went. And we're about 500 meters the other direction now, the opposite direction from what we were. And really good connection. The only thing I saw was a little bit on that GPS. But we can kind of go over the top. Whoops, that was me yawing just a little bit too fast there in sport mode. I'm going to put it back into normal mode here. And we can kind of go over the top and look at the boat ramp there, and we can see the folks parked there. And we're up about 110 meters, so we're probably as high as we're going to want to be. One of the things that I should have checked before we took off here was my return to home height. I can tell you that I like to set it pretty high here, because if you get behind one of these peninsulas or something like this and the drone goes into return to home, you want it to be able to climb high enough to get over the top of them. So usually I set it pretty high, and I just realized I forgot to set it here. So we're down to about 72% battery. So battery usage is pretty good. Let's shoot up the little I'm trying to remember the name of this creek that feeds the reservoir in this part. Most of the year it's dry, but we're just going to head straight on up here. Let's throw it back into sport mode so we can make some time here. And crank her back up, and we'll just kind of go up this little, I guess if you were in a Nordic country, you'd call it a fjord. But yeah, this is just a little extension of the reservoir here. And you can see, I'm going to drop the gimbal down just a little bit as we kind of fly over. You can see, in fact, I'll kind of move us over the top here. And you can see us down there. Yeah, move that gimbal just down just a little bit too quick. So there we are. Drone's right above us. I can hear it up there. And let's move back over. And we can move up to the end of this here a little ways. Make sure that I got my, I'm making sure that I'm pointing my antenna straight at the drone, but whoops, that was, boy, let's go back into normal mode here. One of the things that when you're in sport mode there, that yaw can be pretty quick, and I always forget that, and I over yaw often. And we've looked, they have, I've pointed these out before in the past. They've got little picnic areas here that are accessible by boat. So if you're here on your boat, you can hook up to one of these docks, and you can stop and have a picnic or even camp. I'm quite sure. And they'll raise the water up to where those docks are completely submerged, and you can just pull right up to them. This is there's a lot of good recreation here on this reservoir. Anybody that watches my videos, I've pointed this out before. The highway that you're looking at there is Highway 21. It goes to a town called Idaho City. And city might sound like it's something big, but it's not. And I wish I could remember the name of this creek. I should know that. I'll put it on the screen right now as I'm editing. I'll look it up and I'll put it on the screen here. And I saw just a little hint of break up there. So we're going to turn around. I'm kind of behind the peninsula, so I don't want to push my luck. Like I said, if you want to be careful if you get behind, one of these mountains or peninsulas or hills or whatever, you could. And it goes into return to home. A drone like this, without any kind of obstacle avoidance, you could just smash the drone right into it. So I'm always going to say discretion is the better part of valor. Pick that gimbal back up just a little bit and kind of get you a look at things here. Okay, let's bring it on back, and then we're going to try kind of a half orbit. So full tilt back to us here. That's full stick forward in normal mode. Looks like we'll get up to, about 11 or 12 meters per second. That's about 24, 25 miles an hour, something like that. Kind of get it pointed at us here, so I'm kind of yawing and and rolling the drone to its left at the same time. And what we're going to do is we're going to get it out in front of us here and drop some altitude, and we'll do a kind of a half circle. Drop that gimbal just a little. And you can see us down in the distance down there, and the dam off in the background. I'm going to bring it closer to us here. We're about 200 meters away, so we'll bring it in at about 100 meters, and let's drop our height down to about 60 meters or even less. Let's come down to about 40 meters, and let's bring it in to about 100 meters. And I see the drone up there. It's just moving along. Okay, so we're under 100 meters. So that's probably a pretty good height right there. So what we're going to do, this drone will do an orbit where it focuses in on the controller as the point of interest. So what we're going to do is go into the little X, or I don't know if that's supposed to look like a drone, up in the top left hand corner there. And we are going to go into orbit mode, and it's going to give us a couple of options. You can either set the transmitter as the point of interest, or you can manually set the point of interest. Now, the good thing about setting the transmitter as the point of interest is if you're standing there and you want it centered on you, it makes it easy, but you have to be within 100 meters for that to work. So let's go to next step here, and let's see. I thought I was able to set the direction here, and we wanted to go clockwise. I'm going to go execute immediately. I think that's on the next screen. And it is. So we want it to go, yeah. Let's speed it all the way up there. And let's hide that menu now. And we'll just let it do an orbit here. That's its top speed for the orbit at 3 meters per second. And just kind of get a shot at us on the little viewpoint here. You can see me standing down there, and that family is having their picnic under the little picnic shelter up there. And I hear a helicopter off in the distance, but he is way off in the distance. And, you know, I'm watching the drone up there. It's just moving right along. Okay, let's stop it right there. And we're gonna bring it back. Yeah, it's telling us that the battery level's at 40 degrees, so I'm gonna manually bring it back around here, and we are gonna do another manual droney. I was gonna say, you know, that automated circle, my manual circle was a lot faster. So we're gonna throw it into sport mode again. And it should come down a lot faster now. And we're going to bring it in. And there is an eagle up. He is looking at that drone. He's trying to decide what he thinks of it out there. He's behind it, so you guys aren't seeing it on screen, but he's definitely looking at what it is. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to do another droney, and we're going to do it in sport mode, and so you'll see how fast this guy really is, and then we'll do a return to home. So again, reverse and up now, reverse and up. And you can see that is a lot faster than what we saw previously when we just had it in normal mode and we did our first droney. So let's just let that guy go. Let's just back it way up, and it's eating up battery power. You can see that down to 34%. We're gonna go to max altitude here. Whoop, we went a little over. Drop that back down so we're back under the altitude limit. And we're down to 33% battery, and so discretion is the better part of valor. Let's go ahead and hit return to home, and we're going to do that on the controller. So hit it on the controller right now. And it's in return mode, and you can see that on the FPV screen. And it's in sport mode. I'm just curious how fast it'll come back. Yeah, so it's coming back in normal mode speeds. It's about 10 meters per second, a little more than. And with this guy, we need to stop recording to get that precision landing because it uses the main camera, the main video camera, to achieve a precision landing. So we'll just see if we can get it to do that. And that's me dropping the gimbal down as it comes over the top of us here. It's almost here. Okay, that's that gimbal pointed straight down, and the drone then reorients itself a little, not completely, and it's descending. So let's see if it gets closer to us as it descends. It's quite a ways off as it is, and obviously we'll cancel it if we need to. And it'll tell us on the screen here when it goes into that finding the pad mode. It should tell us. Oops, I need to stop recording. I almost forgot. Okay, so we stopped recording. Yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah, it's searching, and look, it found it, and it moved. There you go. So it found the pad, and it's coming down, and it looks like we're gonna hit it. Yeah, it's right on the pad. It's looking really good. Now it's starting to move just a little, and I've seen that with this drone before. It struggles a little bit, but you should be able to see it on camera here. You're seeing it move around there a little bit. And it's looking for that pad. Whoop. Well, there's a crash. Well, I think we're good here. I see a little nick on the side of the arm there, but that might even come off. And the gimbal is, yeah, definitely hit the gimbal there, so we'll have to see how it survived that. But it was weird. It was coming down, and I thought it had it, and then it moved at the very last second. Yeah, there's a lesson there. Don't trust precision landing on the Zino 2 Plus. So I'm gonna reboot it and see if everything's okay. And I'm sure you guys will want to know too. Okay, I started recording again, and we're gonna do a manual takeoff and of course a manual landing. The drone looks okay, but I just want to double check and make sure that the the camera and everything's working, and the gimbal is working like it should. So we're hovering okay, and I don't see anything really bad going on there. Let's go out here for just a second. And it's looking okay. So let's turn around and we'll bring it on in. That was interesting. Now, could I have saved that? Probably. I should have. What I did is I thought I could push forward on the stick and get it to land just on the pavement, but what I should have done was pushed up on the throttle and got some more throttle with it. But it appears to be working fine, so I don't think we did any damage. And I think even the scuff mark, I think they're just scuff marks. I was a little, I don't think it even nicked the plastic, and even the props look pretty good. So. This guy is, like I said, stability-wise, boy, that eagle just keeps flying over the top of us here. He doesn't like this little drone, I don't think. So let's see if we can get a manual landing. But you can see the way the drone moves around. It's tough. Yeah, it's coming down. Yeah, I didn't look on the screen. It automatically put itself into return mode there, so that's why it landed. But yeah, so it's good to know that the drone isn't damaged. Yeah, so taking a look, I'm going to replace some props here. We got one prop that's that's bent up pretty good, and we got another prop here that's scuffed. Really minor scuffing on one of them, but other than that, like if you look on the arms here, that's not even scratched, it's just black, so I'm sure that'll rub off. But anyway, we'll replace those props, and we should be good to go. Hey, okay guys, I burned up a little bit of battery on the DJI Air 2S here. Got it ready to go. Got the app fired up in the controller, and we're going to look at the safety menu here real quick. I had to change the battery in the GoPro, so it took a couple minutes, and it just sat here burning up battery for a second. But let's look at that safety menu. We're on bypass like we want to be. Return to home altitude, like I said, I'm going to move that puppy way up there because we want to make sure we clear anything if we get into that situation. And compass is normal, IMU is normal, so we should be good to go here. Let's go ahead and look at the camera menu, and we are going to change that. Click at the bottom here. They moved that camera menu, so maybe I need to do it right. Well, we need to stop recording, don't we? Didn't realize the drone was recording there. So we're going to go into the camera menu here, and yeah, we are in 4K 60. We're going to change that to 4K 30 so that it's the same as what it was with the Zino 2 Plus. And we are in full auto. I see no reason why not to take off. So let's go ahead and start recording now. And we are going to hit takeoff on the app, and I'm going to get out of the way so you can see it. And you can see it's a little bit windier now than what it was before. And yeah, we're in an 150 meter altitude zone. We know that. Sorry about that. It's on the screen there. But anyway, there's the drone. Let's pick it up and give it a good look at its landing zone. They want you to go about 7 meters. We're about 6 meters high. That should be good. We'll give it a look there for a second. And then let's bring it down and turn it around here. And because of obstacle avoidance, we're not going to be able to get too close to the camera, but we'll see what we can do here. Yeah, and you can see it moved up. It was trying to go over the top of us. So let's rock it back and forth here a little. Yeah, as soon as I touch the sticks, it wants to move up. So that was right stick would be the drone's left. There we go. There we go. But it wants to be higher than what I had it there. But anyway, let's go ahead and do our manual droney. I'm going to go ahead and drop the gimbal down, and we are in normal mode just like we were with the other drone. So let's go reverse and up now, reverse and up. And we'll keep our eye out for that eagle. He was sure looking over that Hubsan drone pretty close. And we went out there quite a ways, I think, with the Hubsan. I think we were out there at least a couple hundred meters when we stopped, and that's about where we're at now. Boy, I can tell you it looks really good on FPV here. Let's go ahead and yaw to the drone's right. And we'll go up the reservoir just like we did with the other drone. You can see there's a couple of houseboats down there, fishing boats, or patio boats, whatever. Let's kind of move out more towards the middle of the reservoir here. And it's reminding us as we enter that altitude zone. We're kind of right on the cusp of it, so we end up going in and out of it when we're out here on the reservoir. And we're full stick forward now in normal mode, and you know, the speed is just, I think, pretty darn similar to what we saw with the Zino 2 Plus. And there's, looks like a patio boat down there, if I can see that correctly on FPV. Let's go ahead and kick her into sport mode and see what she'll do. So there's sport mode. And we're not as high, I don't think. I'm gonna pick up some altitude here. And it's moving right along, around 18 meters per second. That's probably enough altitude. I have to tell you, the FPV feed on this DJI drone is just amazing. And we're out there about 1 kilometer. I think that's what we were on the Zino. So we'll just turn it around here. I don't think we have a boat to chase this time. And I hear an aircraft. He is way higher than we are, and he is right directly to the north of me. So I'm looking at him, he's pretty close. I mean, I'm gonna say he's over 400 feet, but you know, it's hard to judge sometimes. He's probably at 1,000 feet, something like that. Anyway, full stick forward here. Interesting, I just thought he didn't show up on our ADS-B, did he? So we're going back. We're not chasing a speedboat like we got to do with the Zino, but we can go over the top of this guy. And sorry for that quick yaw, but we'll just, for the fun of it, we'll look down at this dude here and then pick it back up. And just like we did with the Zino, we'll go out over there and look at the where the boat ramp is. Kind of go the other direction. And you can tell we're coming against the wind because it's not as fast this way, is it? It's about 15 meters per second. So, you know, that's still over 30 miles an hour. So that's moving along pretty good. So we're going to go to our left here. And again, we closed in on that 150 meter altitude zone, which we're not even close to that. So. And I'm kind of moving the drone, we're kind of sliding a little sideways here so we can kind of get around and take a good look at the boat ramp. And as I recall, with the with the Zino, we went right over the top of it, so we'll do that with this guy too. Now we're picking up some speed again, aren't we? And you know, we're in full auto, so you saw the EV change there, and maybe even the white balance. But there is the boat ramp. So let's go back into normal mode, and that gives us all of our obstacle avoidance back. And you know, because this drone will do it, I think we ought to zoom in and we can look at the boat trailers and stuff down there. So let's go ahead and zoom on in. That's holding down the function button and using that same scroll wheel. Yeah, looks like those guys are getting ready to put it in. And look at that, we're 4.3 zoom. You can get right in on them, can't you? That's pretty cool. Pretty darn cool. Okay, let's get that zoom back out to normal. Back to 1x. There we are, and let's pick that gimbal back up, and we'll turn it around here and come back towards us. This is Turner Gulch that we're looking up right here. I've flown the drone up that before. Kind of a cool little spot. But let's turn around here and head back towards us. And we're going to go back up where we're going to try and fly the same flight pattern that we flew with the Zino 2 Plus. And I'm dropping some altitude as we come back here. Yeah, again, let's throw it in sport mode so we can get back a little bit faster. And battery-wise, we're down at 54%. I'm going to say this guy's eating up battery a little bit faster than what we saw with the Zino. And my vector is just a little different. I'm going to try and slide over a little bit because I think we kind of came right over the top of us here with the Zino. So this is probably more like the path that we had with the Zino. I'll drop the gimbal down here a little bit. There, I'm standing there. Pick it back up. And there's that drone. It's tilted forward, I'm telling you. And I think we went quite a ways up here when we did it with the Zino 2, so we'll go up there a little ways. Again, you can see the little picnic areas there that they got for the boaters, and Highway 21 on its way up to Idaho City. Okay, let's turn this guy around. And you can see the highway there. And the dam off into the distance, and there we are at the viewpoint. So, just like we did with the Zino, we're going to do a kind of a half circle here. And I'll see how that turns out with this guy. I'm trying to remember how I'm going to do that orbit, if I have to use the quick shots or what I can do to achieve that. If nothing else, we'll do some kind of a manual orbit. And we need to get, sorry about that, guys. I know I'm kind of kicking it around. Oh, I realized I'm in sport mode. Let's throw it in normal mode. Yeah, I was kind of struggling to be smooth there, and now I kind of know why. Sport mode definitely makes all the controls more sensitive, and everything moves a lot faster. And I think we were out there about 100 meters with the Zino 2, so we'll come in a little bit. That's about right. And I think, yeah, that looks pretty close. Boy, those birds of prey are up there. I guess they're not really looking at the drone. So let's move the drone over a little bit, kind of more in front of us here. And let's see here. So I think I'm going to have to stop recording here to go into one of the modes here to see if we can get a automated orbit. So I'm going to stop recording and click on that little film strip at the top, and I think the only way I'm going to get that is with quick shots. So let's try quick shots, and look, it's got us there. So this might work. Well, we might have to let's bring it in just a little closer. Yeah, there. So we got the plus. So I'm going to click the plus on my vehicle, and it caught it. And we're going to go into circle. And yeah, that's the direction we want to go. And let's go ahead and click start. And so you can't, that's worth noting. So on the Zino, where you could adjust the speed and so forth, you can't do this. It's going to do this quick shot on its own, and we're not going to let it complete the full quick shot. We'll cancel it when it gets halfway around here, just kind of like we did with the other drone, because it's going to want to do a full orbit here. So there, you know, there it is. Let's stop it right there. And then we're going to go back into, and that, by the way, that video was at 1080p. Oh, nice, they're flying. They're up here flying a kite. Okay, well, we'll be careful around that, won't we? We don't want to hit anybody's kite. Holy cow. Okay, we're going to go back into video mode. We're going to start video. And I'm going to bring the drone back around manually. So there we go. Let's bring it back. Move it back out over a little bit. Had it pointed the wrong direction there, didn't I? There we go. You know, what I was doing there was looking at the drone instead of looking at FPV. I'm telling you, you know, there's all this talk about line of sight and everything. I almost think you're safer looking at FPV, you know, because you can see exactly what the drone is doing then. But anyway, let's do just like we did with the Zino, and we're going to do a sport mode droney, and we have just enough battery to get that done. So let's throw it into sport mode, and we're not going to mess around. Drop the gimbal down, reverse, and up now. And this baby really does a takeoff. And of course the Zino did the same thing. Yeah, and it's gonna, we'll just let it go into return to home here. I'm just gonna hold the sticks till it decides that itself to go into return to home. And it did. So it's gonna go into return to home. I'm gonna switch it back into normal mode here, which I think it does itself anyway. And it kicks the gimbal up. We're gonna drop that gimbal back down. And let's hope that we have better luck with precision landing. I'm still kind of feeling bad about that landing with the Zino 2 Plus. But one thing about this guy is you just leave the, you know, where the Zino 2 uses that main camera, this uses its downward sensors, so you can leave it recording. You don't have to shut off recording. And if there's a problem with this guy when it comes down, I'm definitely going to push up on the stick and not try and steer the drone, pitch the drone forward like I did with the Zino 2. So, although, you know, I had to do something. It was going to be in trouble no matter what we did there. So it was just weird the way all of a sudden it went backwards on us. It was pretty wild. So it's coming down here. It's looking pretty good. It'll find it. Yeah, this is looking like what it should, huh? Yeah, it's right on that H. I think we're going to have it here, and it picks up the it picks up the camera itself, and you know, I'm going to call that good. You guys see that on the camera. We got 2 legs on and 2 legs off, so that's pretty good. Let me get everything shut down and we'll do our conclusion. And by the way, battery wise, we're pretty low. We're down at about 9% battery. Oh, and you do need to stop recording on this one, so recording is stopped. And yeah, let me get it all shut down. All right, the Hubsan Zino 2 Plus and the DJI Air 2S. Interesting drones to compare. Now, obviously, the DJI product is about twice as expensive as the Hubsan product, but they compare more favorably than what you might think. As far as intelligent flight modes, yeah, this guy's got some master shots and some things like that, but in some ways, there's more flexibility with what the Zino 2 Plus has to offer to let you do some things that this one won't. I mean, some more adjustability, etc. Obviously, this guy's got way more sophisticated obstacle avoidance and tracking, although the tracking on the Zino is pretty good, although we didn't show that today. Now, you guys will have seen the video already, the video quality. I'm going to put it side by side above it as I do this conclusion here so that you can kind of see them side by side. I'll try and match the shots so that they're kind of close. Now, we expect this guy to come out on top, and it should, right? It's got the 1-inch sensor and obviously more expensive drone. We shot them both in 4K 30 frames per second. This guy is capable of 5.4K, but you know, I just thought, well, let's give the Zino a chance, and so both of them in 4K 30 frames per second. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of you know, up to you. I think that price-wise, if you're looking value-wise, there's no doubt this Zino 2 Plus is a home run. If you're looking for kind of a top-of-the-line prosumer drone, man, this DJI Air 2S, I gotta say, it's if it's not my favorite drone right now, it's pretty darn close to it. This thing just has incredible capability and is just a lot of fun to fly. Oh, I guess the other thing I just thought of is flight time. I think we definitely got more battery life out of the Zino. In fact, not definitely, we absolutely did. We got more battery life out of the Zino than we did out of the Air 2S. So I think that big sensor and the way things are set up on this thing, it definitely eats up some battery pretty quick, which is okay for me. I mean, that's typically, if you're up in the air for 15 or 20 minutes, that's quite a while to be focused anyway. So that, truthfully, that works out pretty good as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, I guess that's about it. You know, am I going to tell you which one is right for you? I'd say that's a personal choice. If you're looking for a full-featured drone at a bargain price, definitely the Zino 2 Plus. If you really want kind of the best in prosumer drones right now, absolutely the Air 2S. So, okay, that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I really do appreciate you taking the time to look at this long video. And of course, absolutely, we'll see you on the next one. The Hubsan Zino 2 Plus and the DJI Air 2S.